Now, in light of the recent unrest, change is happening all across the country. So our Ben Hoover spoke with a group in Oconee County, and they are working to bring change right here in the upstate. Ben.
Kim, really learned a lot speaking with these three ladies, mothers, I should say. I spoke with Kate Reed, Lakeisha Benson, and Tanisha Graham. These three women are just a few of the many people involved in this grassroots movement in Oconee County. They spoke with me about what it entails and why it's needed.
You hit the nail on the head when you said that white people do need to come to the table. I do believe that it is white people's burden to address racism and to dismantle it. And so the first step in doing that is educating yourself. And the best way to educate yourself is to simply just listen. And I started, trying to organize and surround myself with people who could educate me in a sense. So I think that my sole motivation, or my main motivation, is my children always, but also I think it's our responsibility as white people to come and listen to our Black peers about what their experiences are.
And you're not just listening. Your group is actually getting very involved there locally with the local government in Oconee County. You have now proposed what's called a Commission on African American Affairs for the Oconee County Council. Lakeisha or Tanisha, why don't you tell either one of you can tackle what that is going to address, what you want to address with that.
Well, actually, Sean Johnson was the author. He penned that. That was his vision. He had, and so we collaborated and we kind of executed that to push that through and have meetings and really pitch it. Do a dog and pony to pitch the importance of the representation for Black people within government. The African American Commission, if passed, when passed, will be the first in the state. So we wanted to, be the catalyst for change. We wanted to be the leaders in that and have others benchmark us and see the capabilities of putting Black leadership in places to collaborate with local government leaders, and how the Black agenda as far as education and equal opportunities within businesses and government representation is very important. And so just tapping into marginalized communities, underrepresented communities, and being able to showcase, talent and leadership, it's paramount in this time. And so we're very excited about it. And we are looking forward to every type of initiative, like I said, whether it's working with businesses, government, and education within our local community.
And
we're going to have a lot of work.
I know you will. And Lakeisha, tell me a little bit about what the reception was like when y'all presented this, or when you talk about these ideas in general, specifically with those who hold power in Oconee County.
Actually, I was pleasantly surprised that we actually were well received in the county of Oconee when it was presented. Sean and Tanisha both did an excellent job presenting it, and it was met with applause. I think that right now we're just in a unique time where people are, I don't know if they've been at home and watching the news, these things have been happening, but I think now people are paying attention and they want to be a part of the positive change. So it was met favorably.
I mean, this is some grassroots, local things going on that y'all are doing. What is your message to anybody who might be watching now, who might want to get involved in their community, but might feel a little intimidated to maybe join a national organization? You can go about bringing change just even with a small group, even though you have a pretty good large number of people involved. So what is your message to people who might see this, who want to get involved in their communities? Kate, why don't you take that first?
I think it's really important. I think Tanisha really summarized it well. We want to be kind of the benchmark. We are encouraging our county to look at this as an opportunity to step forward and meet this historical moment, to set a standard for the rest of the state. And I think that really sums it up beautifully. And it can be a grassroots led movement, you know, for your own county, because county to county, the issues that you're facing are going to be different, and the way you're going to maybe tackle those issues may look different. And so I think that you can really make a tailor-made approach to the issues that are unique to your county or your state. So yeah, Tanisha, Lakeisha, anything to add to that?
You know, the saying, bloom where you're planted. I don't think you have to look outside of your local area. NOLA for the NOLA network stands for No Other Life Affected. So I don't want another instance of things that I have personally experienced to happen to anyone, not Tanisha, not Kate. So you have to just take advantage of things when you can. So just do it. I've worked in nonprofits for 20 years, but I didn't know the first thing about founding one or running one. But then I just did it. We don't always have tomorrow, and you can't wait for someone else to do it. So start where you are and make it happen.
And thanks so much to Lakeisha, Tanisha, and Kate for speaking with me. By the way, all three women have children of color, and they tell me that is one of their biggest motivations in pushing for change. And Kim, they do have some men in their group involved, but they did point out that it's really been the mothers who have really been motivated about bringing about this change. I thought that made perfect sense.
Good, very interesting conversation there, and three strong women who are really making a difference. Thank you, Ben.